on PTA charges. And these settings should be worked out by the district education officers and resistance councils. Ministry of Education should introduce loan schemes to students at post-secondary.
First of all, allow me to report that all the districts of Uganda are represented in this meeting through their various district executive committees. I wish to take this opportunity, first and foremost, to thank these members for their effort in making sure that they attended this important meeting in spite of the short time that was given by way of notice. Mr. President, I must report that these members who are gathered here are members who have given an immense contribution by way of sacrificing their own time, their own resources for the benefit of the people they represent. Mr. President, it is not an easy task to be a chairman or member of a district council at this point in time of our country. The central government, we don't give them any appreciable assistance to carry out their duties. Most of them have to pay their own money for transport to go to their districts to meet. They have to forfeit their relevant and respective duties in their areas to go and serve their people. For this, I commend them very much, Your Excellency. Mr. President, I also wish to report that from the interaction I've had with the various members here and from the experience I've had in the various areas I've visited, these members who are gathered here are very politicized members. Mr. President, I'm sure they would confess even themselves that their thinking today is very much different from the thinking of 3 years ago. This is not to say that there has been the effort that was expected on the part of the officials involved in mobilization. These members have on their own, in most cases, developed the interest, developed the programs, and executed them to improve on their understanding of the political line of the national resistance movement. The mobilization exercise has been going on, but it has been going on with quite a number of difficulties. First of all, the mobilization team in the districts, which is composed of the district administrators and the mass mobilizers, have been handicapped in quite a number of ways. Some of the district administrators who are seated here do not have any form of transport. The situation of the mobilizers is even more appalling in some circumstances. Their morale has been depreciating fairly fast. This is for reasons which I would not like to indulge in, but which I'm sure they themselves appreciate. Reasons largely beyond our control. It ought to be appreciated by these officers that if the population is sacrificing to the extent I've mentioned, we, if we have claim to cadreship, must sacrifice to even a greater extent. Nonetheless, Mr. President, sir, I think there is now need to deliberately infuse some motivational facilities into these mobilizational structures in the districts. We in the National Resistance Movement Secretariat are already making plans to further strengthen the mobilization teams in the districts. And I hope fairly soon announcements will be made on how we intend to further strengthen these mobilization teams. The Secretariat of the movement, as I have said on several occasions, Your Excellency, has and is to a certain extent still faced with some difficulties, and which difficulties of necessity cause it to be a bit weak and therefore not to face all the challenges that it is supposed to face. Nonetheless, I'm happy to report, Your Excellency, that in the calendar year ending, quite a number of steps have been taken to strengthen the National Resistance Movement Secretariat. And these steps will continue to make sure that the Secretariat of the movement answers appropriately to the various challenges that it is faced with. I expect, Your Excellency, that in this year, my office will be liberated due to the strengthening efforts that have taken place, and that therefore I will have more time available to me to move around the districts and meet with the field mobilization teams and the field RC leaders and the population to further improve on the understanding of the NRM political program. Mr. President, let me take this opportunity to sound some caution to the leadership that is developing in the country. That is by way of the resistance councils and committees. It has come to my notice, Mr. President, that already there is some unexplained interest shown by certain dubious bodies, both in the country and outside the country, in the leadership. I have had certain interests inviting the leadership of the RCs to take them outside the country. They claim that they are inviting them in their own private capacity. I don't know where, Mr. President, these organizations were, because these private capacities have been existing all along. But they have only taken interest in them when these private capacities have achieved power through the RCs. It is not, I think, an incident, a coincidence that ought to be dismissed with a shake of a hand, to find that at this point in time we have this interest all of a sudden from certain foreign organizations in the RC leadership. Mr. President, I wish also to thank this Congress here for the resolutions they have made. These resolutions are resolutions which are very helpful to government, because as they have mentioned, government takes it very seriously to find the views of the population on crucial issues. And the cabinet, under your chairmanship, Mr. President, directed that these representatives of the people should come and discuss these issues. I have heard, and I would like to believe that it was not a serious contention, but I've heard some murmuring that it would appear that cabinet was avoiding taking responsibility on these crucial issues and wanting to shift the burden onto some other body. But that is precisely what leadership and representation is all about. It is about taking responsibility for important decisions on behalf of the people you lead. And therefore, I think cabinet was justified that you take these decisions. If you are criticized for them, that is precisely the idea about leadership. I take it that this meeting, after it has dispersed, will continue to go down to the lower levels to discuss these issues at the district councils, at the RC3 councils, and at the lower levels to explain what the ministers said by way of introduction, to explain what took place in the meeting, and there